Welcome. How's that? Can you hear? The acoustics we know are a little complicated. My name is Christopher Merrill, and as the director of the International Writing Program, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this Creative Matters event with the Swiss light artist Gerry Hofstetter. Creative Matters is sponsored by the Office of Vice President for Research, and so let me begin by thanking Interim Vice President for Research John Keller, whose support makes this lecture and interview series possible. Leslie Reveau, who is the point person for what has become an incredibly dynamic series, and Liz Crooks, who has worked closely with Gerry Hofstetter to supply images and ideas for tonight's light show, which will take place right out here at 8 o'clock. Creative Matters brings together artists, writers, scientists, and thinkers to discuss the creative process, help forge connections across disciplines, and spark new ideas in conjunction with the rebuilding of our arts campus. Innovation is our theme, and what is more innovative than the Light Art Grand Tour around the United States that Gerry Hofstetter and his team conceived as a way to explore American history and our connections to Switzerland. This tour will travel to all 50 states, highlighting one monument per state, including Mount Vernon, the USS Yorktown, and the Wright Brothers National Memorial, and it is our honor to be the site of the old Capitol building of the Iowa connection. Gerry Hofstetter lives and works in Zumikon, Switzerland, and in Los Angeles, specializing in light art, communications, events, design, and film production. He's the innovator of light art and transforms buildings, monuments, and natural landscapes throughout the world into temporary works of art with spectacular light projections. He has been an investment banker, a Mountain Special Forces captain, an instructor for special operations in mountain warfare and combat search and rescue, who has trained U.S. Marines and Navy SEALs. He uses these experiences to implement light art projects of all sizes around the globe. But when I asked him how he would define himself, he said, "Just Gerry." So, let's welcome Just Gerry to Iowa. So, Gerry, where are you? Where are we?
Is this heaven? It's Iowa.
Special thanks to Dan Fine for the opening joke. So, Gerry, I want to begin by asking you, what is creativity for you, and where does it come from?
You ask me what is creativity for me.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about me, not about all the people here.
Everybody.
Okay. If you ask me what is creativity, if someone tells you I'm creative, or someone tells about himself I'm creative, it's not true. Because creativity comes from the ability to memorize what you hear, what you see, what you speak, what you discover, what you experience in your life. And when your brain is able to save it, to store it in a liquid moving way, and there is one person talking to you, or a couple of persons, and they're saying one word, or a meaning, then your brain, the synapses, take it out deep in the liquid and put it, and the vision comes up. And then you are creative. So the creativity, from my opinion, comes from the input from the audience, from people, from animals, from the wind, from the nature, and this is based what you have in your mind and in your brain and in your experience. So you are all not creative, but as soon as somebody tells you something, and you start to be creative, then you are an artist.
I think you said at one point to me in dinner last night, which was, I have to say, a rollicking affair. Alone, you are not creative. What do you mean by that?
If you put someone in a room without nothing for months, years, and you tell him, write the book, he can't write it if he has not memories. So you tell him, write the book, and he's having memories, he starts writing. But on some point, he will die out because no inputs are coming anymore. So you need to be inputted somehow to be creative.
And for you, input is all about what's been happening since you and your team arrived, right?
Oh, yeah, I was inputted a lot here. Thanks to Liz and other people. So we arrived with a couple of designs already prepared for the old Capitol. You will see at 8 o'clock how we do this. And then I told Liz, look, give me pictures and ideas and designs. What is important for your place? You're a very creative place, innovative place. You're Iowa City. It's the place in the world for book writing, readings. And then they came up with pictures. And we spent the whole 2 nights and days, the last 2 days, to prepare them. Because I was inputted by these pictures, and now we know what to place up, including Frankenstein. Doesn't make sense on that building. But you have 200 years Frankenstein, and you have a great collection here. So we prepared also this. So the creativity came, of course, Frankenstein is another creativity. But how to project these grueling pictures, that's then the creativity.
But so why did you decide on Iowa City? What was the rationale?
We are doing that tour you described through all 50 states. I checked out, when I had this vision, 89,640 national monuments, landmarks, natural places, historical places, warfields, and I was searching for one connection per state, per monument to Switzerland. We are the 6th biggest fair trade country with USA. And this little country has 8 million people and are the 6th biggest trade partner. So I thought that would be a great idea, especially in these times, to go through each state and highlight places which belongs to your history, to your roots, to your fights for freedom, independence, and liberty, of course. And I selected, to your question, Iowa City, this old capital, because here history was written for democracy, like in our country, since 1291, by the way. And you have a campus, a university which is worldwide known for medical health care, as Switzerland is worldwide known for medical health care. And your public university is famous, like ours in Switzerland, the public universities. And the third part, you were the first university who allowed for a master to bring a performance or a painting for the master.
For the master's degree.
For a master's degree in art. Yeah. So people are saying I'm a light artist, so that's the reason why I'm here.
But also to give you a sense of the way Gerry works, you drive a particular brand of car around this country on this tour. Maybe you should explain why. Why you're always in a Chevy.
Okay, I'm not paid by Chevy, by the way.
Yeah.
When you go in your history, and our country had so many roots with your country, and actually we helped also quite a bit to develop your country and to get it where you are now. Louis Chevrolet, the inventor of Chevrolet cars, 1909, he came from a little city up in the mountains, French mountains, La Chaux-de-Fonds. So he went as a bicycle and watchmaker, he learned to do this, to the United States, and his brother joined him. Gaston Chevrolet was the famous racing driver, and Louis was the engine maker and the car maker. And Gaston won all the races in Indianapolis. So Ford kicked out the manager, high-rank manager. He went to Louis Chevrolet. You're famous. Let's do together a company. But we cannot use my name. I'm coming from Ford. Let's use your name. So the company became Chevrolet. And what is the logo on Chevrolet? It's like this, a little bit pressed. It's a Swiss cross. It's a pressed Swiss cross. So I'm driving Chevrolet. It's very easy. Yeah. Did you know that the pedestal of the Liberty stands on a pedestal which a Swiss engineer was doing? The Hoover Dam was done by a Swiss engineer. The Golden Gate Bridge, he made it at the end that it was fitting. The Wright brothers, they invented flying, but without Swiss blood, nothing happens in that world. The mother was 50% Swiss, and the grandmother was 100% Swiss. So the Wright brothers were 12.5% Swiss. And to measure the time in 1903, when they made the first flights, they put it, unfortunately, again, a watch from La Chaux-de-Fonds, where Louis Chevrolet is coming, on the cockpit. And the second man had a stopwatch from La Chaux-de-Fonds, the Gallet watch, also. They measured the time with the Swiss watch and flying with 12.5% Swiss blood. We are always part of your story here.
One of the images I found intriguing was of a granite quarry in Vermont. What's the connection to Vermont and Iowa City?
I believe, I'm very egoistic, I believe I started to learn a little bit more than you do, that you know, because I went through all these monuments, 89,000. I didn't read every in details, but I found out we wanted to go to Vermont next year to do this granite cave, this granite pit.
Yeah,
quarry. Yeah. And Switzerland, the middle of Switzerland is huge, the Alps, full of granite. Yeah. It belongs to Switzerland. So, oh wow, this is a good connection. Then I started to read the history of this granite quarry. I had in my mind already to go to Old Capital, Iowa City. And in their books is saying the Old Capital in Iowa City is built of the stones of Vermont granite. So I projected this granite quarry on your building. It's very easy to be light artist. And yeah, and next year, they asked me already to do a show in the granite quarry in Vermont, and they will have what? The Old Capitol in Vermont.
So, in a way, Gerry is the great unifier, right? I think you said to me at one point, I integrate everything.
Yes, even the nature and the people and the spectator, when they are standing around, they can help us doing the projection.
Yeah. Maybe this is a good moment to take a look at how you actually do it. We have, Gerry has prepared a film for you so you can see what these inventions consist of. Okay, you want to set it up?
One word. He's always talking about Gerry, but I have a team. Yeah. 9 people. Where are they? Yeah. Come quick up here, please. Yeah. Everybody to the stage. Just that you see, I'm not alone. Henry. So this is the team. Beat is the photographer. Jackie light art team. Lelo light art team. Jack light art team. Kurt light art team. My elder daughter Celine lives in Los Angeles. Photographer light art team. And Mink camera and Henry camera filming.
And I have to say, watching this team work last night was, on the one hand, of course, it was incredibly precise, but they were clearly having so much fun, too. There was a lot of whimsy here.
Yeah, but he said one word when we came up the stairs, Gerry, it looks like chaos. The nature is chaos, but it's very well organized at the end. The roses are there, the flowers are there, the summer birds are there. It's not a chaos, it's really organized, because all these people have 2, 3 professions. So I have 30 people in the team, like the Navy SEALs. 10 people, 3 different educations, each one, you have a huge power. So that's it, thank you, you can go. So let's see how we work. Then we can save time to explain this. It's some minutes around the world, including the Titanic in original size for the centennial. Enjoy it.
The Earth, a complex system of water, ice, rocks, sand, and trees. On this extraordinary planet, a community began. Different cultures evolved, and some died out. The growing population asked for communication to enable everybody to understand everybody. Conveying messages is one of the most important parts of life for any individual. And in this fast-moving world, the question came up how a message can be designed in such a way that it can be transmitted to other parties so that this message is seen, has an impact, and triggers the expected reaction of the audience. There is one man who came up with the idea that the solution would be light in combination with art. Gerry Hofstetter from Switzerland. His vision is to put messages onto monuments, buildings, and landscapes with pictures and graphics for a short moment. With his utmost passion for life, people, and nature, Hofstetter believes that this artful form of communication is the most effective way to deliver a highly emotional message directly to the heart of the people on our planet. With an unparalleled drive and amazing endurance, he travels around the world, trusting his education and vast experience, no matter how inhospitable the environment and forbidding the terrain, so as to transform monuments and landmarks into temporary light art sculptures.
My first thought when I heard about this mission was, yes, this is what I want to do.
Yes, we are now taking off Pier 7, and we know that the tow is on our left side.
This will be great. This will be exciting. It will be a big show. It will be very dramatic down by the icebergs in the night with a sling, open doors, big show, big timing, and big teamwork.
Passionate and with the highest professionalism, he travels with his elder daughter Celine, his light art team, and his film and photo team, sometimes even under heavy pressure and quite dangerous conditions, to successfully light up the messages mandated by companies and institutions. The power of the pictures and creativity of concept make the messages comprehensible to everyone across the globe.
Tonight, I would like you to learn to listen with your eyes.
Gerry says there are three things that all people on our planet can understand without knowing the language of the other person: light, colors, and music. Gerry's and Celine's craftsmanship of light art communication is the fastest and most emotional tool to bring a message to people in business and art.
Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour.
Washington is said to have said to the troops, for God's sakes, whatever you do, stay by your commanding officers.
Winterthur is a unique national treasure because of its extraordinary, renowned collection of American decorative arts.
Halt, stop, good, photo.
So the Wright brothers chose this location in 1900 for the wind, sand, and privacy. It was the perfect location to do their experiments.
About these two brothers, we discovered, that's the reason why we selected that place, they have roots of Switzerland.
One of the interesting connections to Switzerland is the 20 millimeter Oerlikon anti-aircraft gun.
And one of the most historical landmarks in our history was obviously the Monetary Conference of 1944. The room we're actually sitting in is the Gold Room. And this is the location where all the major delegates came, sat down, and signed off on the Bretton Woods Conference papers. We created the World Bank, which Switzerland has been a part of for celebrating, I believe, their 25th anniversary as part of the IMF. And so the significance of this property is truly international. So we have international guests that come here, not only because of the heritage of the economic conference, but also because of it is a glorious, iconic New England resort.
We're probably most notable for our Einstein Salon and Innovators Gallery, which was inside the farmhouse. We have one of the largest, if not the largest, collections of three-dimensional personal belongings of Albert Einstein's in the world.
Light is hope, and colors are joy of life. Always.
Thank you.
Wonderful. The first thing that came to mind, we'll get the lights. Maybe we'll get the
We are
lights.
bright, let's go on.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing that the Swiss government came to you and said, Gerry, what can we do to explore the connections between the United States and Switzerland? And they went along with this, right?
Yes, but they told me you have to do it, but you have good ideas and let's do it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm here and doing this because I took passion on that.
Yeah. So I was hoping you might talk a little bit about some of the images that we'll see tonight in your show. What caught your fancy and then how you shaped them into the show that we'll see?
Yeah, 1/3 of the slides, we are projecting slides, you have realized this, okay? So 1/3 is connected to the USA, different stars and stripes, the state flag of Iowa. We have fantasy, paintings. We call them the sun, the American sun, and things like this. And then 2/3 is connected to your history and to the monument. So there will be, shall I tell everything that they don't have to come?
You don't have to tell, no. We just want the backstory.
The backstory. So Liz and her team provided quite a good information, and they sent me what they think is valuable to tell in a short way in light art, in 1 hour, what's all about the campus, the building, and what's inside. Yeah, that's a good thing, showing outside what's inside. And then you will see these pictures, even Frankenstein, yes.
And you take the pictures, and then what do you do with them? How do they get from the image that Liz sent you on to be projected onto Old Capitol?
Oh, I see. The technique are very old projectors from the 17th. We tuned them and made them working even in helicopters or between icebergs. And then we have, it's very hot, it's between, I guess it's 4,000 Fahrenheit inside. Then we have the lenses, they break the heat and correct the light. Then we have glass plates, we paint them, special color, and we print the design we are doing, measured on the building, on special non-burning transparent folios. We developed them in Switzerland with a high-tech company. So this goes in this sandwich and the slide, like the Kodak projectors in older times, you know, that's it.
And then at a certain point, when you were playing around with it last night, there was a lot of attention paid to the exact placement of every image.
Yes, that's right. Of course, we are on the ground, we are in the grass, projector here. So there's always just a little bit of adaptation sometimes. And then I see the sky, I see the trees, and okay, then we have 3 projectors here. So I tell the assistant on the right and left side, change to another slide to umbrella the building with Iowa flags, and then you have the books on the building. So that means Iowa. And I should make an Iowa nice tonight, you think so?
Well, I have to say, Gerry asked me last night to explain Iowa nice, and then at the end of dinner, we ended up taking an Uber because it was raining, and the Uber driver said, so what are you looking at here? Are you trying to, and Gerry said, well, we're trying to figure out things about Iowa. And the Uber driver said, oh, you mean like Iowa nice?
Yeah, there's a little story. Even when we arrived at the state border, the toilets just behind the border in Iowa and the welcoming point, everything was so clean and nice. And I said to my team, where are we? And then we drove to the city and listened to this. Big chaos. Our trucks, the Chevrolets, the generators, the Penske truck on the crossing, trying to enter on the campus. Police, Dodge, stopping. A man goes out, the policeman. Hi, is everything all right? What? I never heard things like this from an American police. Oh, yes. First, I thought it's a joke. And then he started to talking to my team. You have nice T-shirts. That should be official what you're doing here. Then I entered the discussion. I told him, you have a nice uniform. It's quite official what you're doing here. He said, yes. So who are you? I said, I'm doing the light arts. Oh, you must be famous. Yes, I'm a light artist. He took out his mag light. I want to have a selfie with you. I'm a light artist too. He switched on the light. So I made the selfie with my phone. And then the Penske truck came. And I asked him, can you help us to bring the Penske truck up? Yes. He jumped in his car, braking, stopping the traffic, guiding the Penske in. And he disappeared without the selfie. He will come back, I guess. So that's Iowa nice again.
So you visited the special collections, and I think that provided some inspiration as well in our library.
Yes, my team was today doing this visit. They were very impressed. I was not able to attend because I had to prepare the design for tonight. They were very, very impressed. I was so impressed that they showed me the picture about the Inuit child jacket from 1890. I'm so impressed to have this here in Iowa. And the books, I learned about a lot of these writers here. So you will see a lot of what's going on the campus and for what it stands for.
Yeah. Just for local interest, the thesis of Flannery O'Connor, for example.
Yes, of course. Yeah, of course. Oh, I made a nice one lying there and the letters up there.
But when you take the image, last night we were talking about trying to get the Jackson Pollock mural, but you had to fiddle with the image. What was it you had to do to it to make it work for this setting?
Yeah, in this room we have another famous light artist sitting over there. Hi, Matthew. He has the same problems. You have a building and you have a picture, and sometimes the picture fits to your building, but suddenly you get a picture like this, but the building is like that. and you have to put the whole picture on it. Then you have to figure out how I'm going to do this, that the people see that pictures they know they have in their mind. So it took me a little while to get this picture done.
To work.
Yep.
What you'll see also is a drone flying overhead. And at one point in the preparations last night, Gerry said, "Open the grass so the drone has something to see." What's the drone doing there?
Yeah, in Switzerland, we don't stand on grass, we smoke it, okay. I don't smoke. No, you have, on the projectors, you have different metal plates you can close, you can open, you can really shape the building. So when you go on the trees, and you have this beautiful maintained grass, I told the team, open the projectors so the light even goes from the trees on the grass. That means when the drone flies over, it's going to be a 4D dimension. You have the buildings, the trees, and the grass in colors.
Yeah. Gerry also noted that the life flight pilots seem to be detouring quite a lot to watch what was going on here.
I knew it because I'm a helicopter pilot too, and I saw him, the official route is behind the Capitol. He saw it, he came 3 times in 10 minutes in front of the Capitol by government gasoline.
So you have made these shows in some of the most inhospitable parts of the world. Can you talk about the hardest project that you undertook?
The hardest project is always to guide my team, because, serious, I have to bring them in, they trust me blind, and they know I have the weather under control, the Inuits, the king of Norway. I have to have everything under control, even the electricity, and the time, and the sunset, and the sunrise, and the high tide, and the low tide, everything. So this is a hard part. I'm responsible for people and material. But the target is always the picture. And I would say the hardest part is, one of the hardest is when you go to Arctic region, you have these icebergs, they can flip, you have pack ice suddenly showing up, freezing fog, you have high tide, low tide, and you shouldn't stay longer than 5 to 7 minutes at an iceberg because he can flip anytime. So we go, during the day we search them with helicopter, then we go back, make a plan, and then we go to this iceberg, to that iceberg, and then we go back to the same one for 5, 10 minutes. So we avoid the mathematical risk to be killed by a flipping one. So this is one part, but I never fight against the weather. I try to make the weather part of the art. Like yesterday on the test, or at least you remember the clouds yesterday, incredible. So I have to change the show plan, the performance plan. I change immediately the design which fits to the clouds and not what I have in plan. So I'm not a computer. It's everything done manual. You will see tonight.
So what role does chance play in this? You're in control, but
chance.
A lot of chance, things happen by chance, right?
Yeah. If your eyes and ears and your mind is open, and you have a lot of experience, of course, and you're some sort of sensitive, then you realize immediately the feeling, and then you get the colors and the right design on the right time. Yeah. And we are actually, that's a secret, we are working for the blue hours, because then you can see where the building is standing, of course. There's another building there, a tree there. When it's dark, it's like in a studio. Then it's black on the background. And this is, for the spectator, more fascinating.
Just to help us understand some of the imagery that we'll see, there's one slide that has Frankenstein, and then what looks like people in a hospital setting. What's going on there?
You like that?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah, because Frankenstein was constructed in a little hospital, okay, in a cave, all right? So you have a famous hospital over there. Yeah. So the combination between hospital, medical science, and University of Iowa City, And 200 years Frankenstein, there's the week of Frankenstein readings here. The combination is that picture, you see a doctor working on Frankenstein.
And we have on the pedestrian mall a complete reading of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein underway right now. At a certain point, Gerry said last night, we've got to wait for the people from the reading to get over here and see this.
Correct.
Can you say a word about the music that will accompany the show?
Yeah, the music is an orchestra, symphony orchestra.
University symphony.
Yeah, university orchestra. Liz was guiding us, and she selected it. And the music is just a background. It's just giving an ambience. It's not done on the seconds it changes. It's just feel comfortable.
Yeah. And two more images I'm interested in. The spider's web. What's that about?
In our country, it's not yet so famous, but here, Halloween.
Yeah.
So this is for Halloween. But in the other sense, a spider net, if you work at a university, you have to work interconnected. Everything is like a net. So this is the symbolic. All the disciplines you are doing should give out something for human being.
There's an image of the galaxy taken by Cornelia Lang. How does that figure into this?
This came also from Liz, because this is connected to your university. So we have this famous galaxy picture on the monument, and left and right on the trees or the galaxies.
So that begins to give you a picture of what you'll see at 8 o'clock tonight. I have to tell you, it is absolutely unique, and I urge you to come. Now we'll open it up to questions from the audience, and I'll repeat them because we don't have a mic to go around. So who'd like to kick it off?
You are not recorded. You can ask.
Yeah. The question is concerning light pollution, and she wonders how that affects what Gerry has done, and if there have been, if he's noticed some consequences among animals and the like.
When we do projections, we project on a building, and the surface eats the projection. It's not reflecting back. The only source which is shining is the projector. So this light is not harming anything. And we cover the light as much as we can around the buildings to have it on the building. But if I'm using for 2 hours gasoline, 3 projectors, and I was not here the last 56 years, 3 times 1 hour, it will not affect anything. I even not making any construction. I switch on a projector, the light goes there. I even don't touch a building, I don't go into the building, and we switch off. The only thing is in the summertime, when you have a lot of flies and mosquitoes, they are attracted by the projectors and by the people, like in Florida. I had 72 bites all over the body. Is that okay? Okay.
Yes? What was the first project that he did?
That was illuminating a castle for the biggest elite troop competition in the world in the French part of Switzerland for the government. Easy. I have done it for the competition, then I have done it for my events for 2 years, but suddenly I got a lot of inquiries from different people and companies all over the world. Hey, can you do this for us? Why should I go to Abu Dhabi to do this? And I stayed for I kept it for my events, but the pressure became too big, and I realized light is for free on our planet for the moment. And it's very important that everything which is living here, plant, animals, people, everybody, or everything who takes oxygen, light, and water should deserve light. And colors are joy of life. So this combination makes it so beautiful and passionate to look at it.
When you took that project on, did you think of yourself as an artist, or how did you think of yourself?
Never. I never, no, okay. The Aboriginals, the native Indians in America, the Inuits, the Africans, in their groups, they don't know the word artist. It came out 1500 in Venice and Florence in Italy. They made nice furniture for the rich families. And they said, oh, you are artisan, artisan. And then the word became artist because he's doing well, doing something with his hands. And in Europe, they knew, okay, shoemaker, pilot, car driver, cook, artist. Then they knew where to place this person. But in all other countries, even in the high mountain in China, the old ladies are painting, calligraphs. The Indians, Inuits, they don't know the word, but they are so fabulous to do all this art. So I'm not an artist. And art is an individual thing of each person. You define what is art. Even a general can be an artist. I learned this during lunch. Yeah. How he thinks and his visions, how to do and to plan ahead and to bring it in life. A whale hunter, a seal hunter can be an artist with his harpoon, you know? He knows where to wait. So life is art and not what we are doing. That's a nice one.
Yeah. Yes.
So are you building your own equipment to do this stuff, or are you using commercial equipment?
The question is he building his own equipment or is he using commercial equipment?
It's old equipment nobody uses anymore. We tuned it, but we're using environmental friendly generators, Chevrolet, and the team, that's it. So it's non-commercial, actually.
Yes.
So the images you're projecting, it sounds like those are like physically printed on glass.
Are the images physically printed on glass or are they digital?
Two solutions. I paint with special colors. There are no burning, or we print it and put it behind glass in a sandwich.
And is that an aesthetic choice, or is that it can't be done through digitally, it can only be done with glass?
It's an aesthetic choice or is it a necessity of the medium?
The projectors are not made for this because they are so hot it will burn. And in these times, there is another light art that has been developed with 3D, the beamers. They make moving pictures on big facades. So do you have moving pictures or static? And we have static. One by one, manual changed.
And it should be noted that this is only going to last an hour, but you film all of your projects so they have an enduring quality. Other questions?
This may sound very dumb, so I apologize. There seems to be a lot of logistics behind it. So when you go to a different place, do you get a special visa or permission to enter a spot? Or how does that work?
The question has to do with the logistics, which are many in each place, and does Gerry have to secure permission visas for this to take place?
First part, I'm Swiss. I have a 4 years working permission from your government. That took me 56 pages and half a year. They wanted to know why I'm a sniper, why I have explosive education, why I'm a helicopter pilot and a banker. And the Swiss, this is a mad combination. That was mad. So you have this one, then you get, if a job is going to be asked on a special place like the pyramids, then the Minister of Culture is involved. If I go on a place and ask, hey, would you like to partnership with me? Yes, what should we do? Permission, you should do this and this and this. And then it gets sometimes very ongoing. But as soon as you understand how we work, it's done fast. The logistics, yeah, we have to ship them or transport them or fly them in, but at the end, it's not so much logistic. It's the generator and the projector and the team. Is okay?
And I think you were granted permission very quickly here at the University of Iowa when you asked.
Yes, because I think Liz is quite visionary, and she realized this fits to that building, what we are doing in the context of all 50 states. And when we were talking, she told me, you are planning having exhibitions after 2021 in each state. So you have the show tonight, and after 2021, you have for 6 months all pictures of all 50 states in that building for seeing what happened in a nice exhibition to the other states. But they will be only 2 pictures or 3 pictures per state. But you, because you're here, you have 7 pictures. And we will be back for the vernissage.
Along with the documentary film made about
that. Yeah, of course, and the book.
This exhibition that you're talking about after 2021, will this be a video presentation or will it be like photos hanging on a wall for everyone to see, travel to and see?
So it's the nature of the exhibition.
Pictures, like in an art gallery, different sizes, a big screen, seeing the film, the documentary, books you can read, look. That's it.
I love it. That's it. That's pretty big. Yeah.
Thank you so much for choosing the university to have this exhibit for tonight. Once you determine a site to put on your performance, your exhibit, how long does it take you and your team to come to that fruition from start to finish?
So the question has to do with the length of time from the conception of the project to the realization of the vision.
Yeah. The concept of the whole tour, or just arriving at Iowa?
In Iowa?
In Iowa or in Japan.
Okay. Yeah. It took me 2 years preparation. We started last year with the first 8 states. And to come to Iowa, I think there was a 3 weeks back and forwards with our agency in Washington. And we arrived 2 days ago at 4 o'clock. And we made already 2 illuminations, fitting all the slides to the building and doing the performance tonight.
I think the way Gerry described it to me last night is they never sleep and then they go on to the next city.
No, tonight we will sleep.
Yeah.
Because the slides are prepared.
Yeah. Other questions? Well,
feel free.
Then please join us. Oh, no, we have another one here. Yeah.
What's your favorite project you've ever worked on?
Gerry's favorite project he's ever worked on.
Oh. There are projects, there's so many involvement of people or the nature or the building. The favorite one is a symbolic one. For the 100-year centenary of the accident of Titanic, I prepared during 6 years before to bring back the Titanic in original size on an iceberg, on the place where the iceberg was originated, who hit the Titanic. Some sort of an artistic thinking, make peace. 6 times I went to the Arctic to prepare this. And we were able, after 2 nights almost killed by pack ice, freezing fog, underwater tsunami, you remember? And no iceberg, but on that particular night, 100 years, 2 hours before the accident, when the Titanic was still in original size, somebody placed an iceberg. It was not there 10 hours ago. 2,000 feet. We arrived, and I was able, with 2 projectors, to project half of the Titanic in one size on the exact length. And we were 12 people seeing this boat on that huge iceberg, And then I was scared about what I'm doing because I just brought up the history. And I realized how many people dreamed to go to the USA with that boat for a new future. And just the nature came, hit the boat check. And tears, everybody had tears in his eyes. And by looking to this boat again, I told the captain, drive. He said, no, you're telling me always to stay quiet for the pictures. Drive. He put in, and the Titanic drove in the same speed as our boat. This was the maddest I ever have done. And then the iceberg ended, and we drove on, and the Titanic disappeared in the night. You have seen this on the film, I guess, yeah? So, yeah, that's it.
It's a good thing we don't have an iceberg coming here tonight. Please come and join us at 8 o'clock tonight for what will be a spectacular show. And thank you so much to Gerry and his team.
Thank you.